is Psalm 119, verse 27. How should we be as parents when it comes to letting our children experience His law on their own? How do we let go of the desire to keep them locked in a tower away from harm?
All right. What is the purpose of your existence? Your purpose of your existence is to demonstrate Deuteronomy 8:2, which is to walk out the instructions in the best effort to show that it's in your heart to obey Him. Anything you do to make someone keep commandments or to keep them away from any temptation about keeping commandments is undermining the plan. Teach your children, trust that they're going to have to walk this out. They're going to make their own mistakes. You made yours. You cannot hide them in a bubble, and if you did, it wouldn't help anyway. Forcing your children to obey doesn't help anything. No teacher from the microphone should force anybody to obey. I'll get up here and scream at you like, yes, you have to do it if you want what you want, but then if you don't do it, that's your choice. I'm not going to go and follow you around and make you do anything. Why? Because you can't do well at Judgment Day going, well, the judge goes, well, I noticed that you kept the Sabbath. And then he says, but I also noticed you only did it because your pastor, rabbi, whoever made you do it, or your mother made you do it, or whatever made you do it. Well, that doesn't help anything. He wants to see if it's in your heart to do it. You got to let your children out there, train them, and then release them to Yah. They have to have their own mind-opening, eye-opening, ear-opening experience. And when they do, they'll get to make their own choices. Life is, listen to the teaching, making decisions is the reason you exist. Well, if you take your children away from that opportunity, then they're defeating the purpose. You exist to make choices. So you make all your children's choices for them. At some point, that's undermining the point. Now, I don't say that about your 7-year-old. I'm talking about like your 27 and 37 and 40-year-old children. At some point, that child you're locking up is going to be old enough to be out on their own and needs to be prepared to be out in this place called a world not his. Train them for it the best you can. Transition from parent who says do and don't do to parent who says I've got counsel I'd like to impart into you so that you make better decisions. Would you be listening to some advice? Go from parent to trusted advisor. It's a hard transition. If you don't start it early, it's a real hard transition. But you need to do that. So that your 21-year-old or your 18-year-old, look, I've got a son who's going to be graduating soon. Guess what that means? I'm going to have to trust him. He's going to be going into the world, into college. I can trust him now. He's got a job, and he works, and he's out there in the world. I've got to teach and talk to him and be a counselor to him. My daughter's going to be that way in a few years. All of the children eventually get to that place where they have to leave the house and be out there. And you have to trust that you've done your part the best you can and developed the relationships that if anything goes sideways, they'll tell you so that you can give them counsel what to do when things go sideways. Because I don't know about you, but I've come to realize that life often goes sideways. Sometimes more than once a day. Ever had a bad week in a day? How you doing? I'm having a bad week today. A whole week's worth in one day.